So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much.
A Stage 1 drought was declared in February, asking for a 20% voluntary reduction of water usage by water customers throughout the city. Unfortunately, due to continued dry weather, the city declared a Stage 2 drought on May 20th.
The Council of the City of Santa Barbara declaring a Stage 2 drought condition and establishing water use regulations to be effective during a Stage 2 drought condition.
So stage 2, it basically raises the level of concern. I mean, stage 1 is kind of a warning, hey, we're concerned, and we actually declared that in February, on February 11th, which is right in the middle of our, typical rainy season. So we had some concerns going into that. The stage 2 for us has really taken it to the next level. We've been looking ahead at our water supplies. We are very concerned about next year. And so we're going to be asking the community for a mandatory 20% reduction in their water usage.
Stage 2 involves mandatory restrictions on water use. This includes no watering of outdoor hard surfaces. It includes all hoses are required to have a shutoff nozzle. There's restrictions on the hours of day that you can irrigate. There's restrictions on operation of ornamental fountains, and all pools and spas are required to have covers when not in use. And there's a number of other restrictions as well that are on our website.
Fortunately, the city plans for drought conditions in our water supply strategy, outlined in the city's long-term water supply management plan.
So the city has a long-term water supply plan and also a water shortage contingency plan. And basically how that plan works is once it stops raining and our reservoirs are full, we start the clock. And that happened in 2011, and we started the clock while the reservoirs were full, and we kept monitoring those. And we are currently in year 3. And with year 3 comes our plan has several things that we start to implement. And moving into stage 2, there are certain conditions that we want to get the community thinking about with reducing their water usage. We are looking at restarting the desalination plant. We have taken some of our capital projects, our routine capital projects, put those on hold while we start some drought-related projects which are focused on our wells and work up at Gibraltar actually to drill some silt wells to tap into water that's in the bottom of the dry reservoir.
Currently, the city's surface water supplies are severely reduced in capacity, with Lake Cachuma at 37%, Gibraltar Reservoir at 35%, and the State Water Project deliveries projected at 5%. To augment surface water supplies, the city's planned additional drought water supplies include local groundwater, water purchases, and possibly the desalination plant that is currently in long-term storage.
We are starting to ramp up our use of alternate supplies. We're ramping up groundwater use, and we're using available state water that was in storage from previous years. We're also pursuing additional water purchases and have initiated study and preliminary design of our desal plant. However, we are projecting shortages for next year if the drought condition continues.
If dry weather continues into next year, the city would consider moving to a Stage 3 drought condition.
The city has an adopted water shortage contingency plan, and there are 3 stages of drought response. So we just recently declared a Stage 2 drought condition. A Stage 3 drought condition would be triggered by a worsening of the supply condition or the need for more aggressive reductions in demands. And if we see extraordinary conservation now, it can help delay or eliminate the need to go to a Stage 3.
We have no water to waste. The easiest way for city water customers to reduce water usage is in their landscape.
So Santa Barbara residents have always done a great job at conserving water because water conservation is a way of life here on the South Coast. But in times of drought, we're really looking for extraordinary water conservation where people go above and beyond just the everyday behaviors of water conservation. Because what we need right now is a 20% reduction in water use citywide, but we're asking people that have gardens that are watering them to reduce more than 20%.
Fortunately, there are many simple ways that residents and businesses can save significant amounts of water in their landscape.
The best ways people can reduce their water use by 20% or more is first to check for any leaks, because we have no water to waste at this point. Many households have silent leaks that you aren't sure they're there until you really investigate. One of the best ways to look for leaks is to use your meter. Read the meter and then maybe go away for about an hour, don't use any water, and come back. And if water has gone through the meter without you using it, that's how you know you have a leak. We have a really good resource on our website of how to read your meter and how to use your meter to check for leaks. So I encourage everyone to do that.
In the last drought, we had a remarkable response by our local community. They cut back their water use by almost 50%. Today we're asking for 20. We're not quite there yet. We're going to keep on that message, but of course it's our most important drought water supply plan is to get the community to conserve water, and the best way to do that is cut back on your landscape irrigation.
As a community, it is crucial for us to come together during this drought and do everything possible to conserve water.
Here in Santa Barbara, about half of the water delivered to the city goes to commercial and residential gardens. So that's where a lot of the water is going in the city, and we estimate that about half of that water is actually wasted. It's not going to the plant and watering the plant. So it's getting wasted from runoff, from overspray, from broken things, from leaks. We encourage everyone to take responsibility of the water that's used on their property.
And again, we've done it before, and that's encouraged the city staff, who's responsible for our water conservation effort, that we can do it again. Now, obviously, most of us have implemented a lot of the indoor water conservation measures that we can, but we can all cut back on our landscape irrigation, and that's the community effort that we need to get us through the next year.